what was the basis for dropping him to the ground, according to your words. Did we just see your fist ball up and strike Mr. Crawford?
Yes.
It's not always that dirty cops are held accountable, but when they are, it's a moment to behold. In today's case, we'll be deep diving into one corrupt pig's inhumane actions that ultimately led him to lose his police license permanently. Make sure you stick through the whole thing because he gets absolutely embarrassed.
How would you describe what you see here in Mr. Crawford's face?
On July 7, 2019, Teddy Sims, a Bayton police officer, was accused of aggravated assault when he made a wrongful arrest of Kendrick Crawford. After that, we got to witness one of the best cross-witness examinations during his deposition.
Don't call nobody up here, they'll go to jail.
Don't call nobody up here.
Yeah, say, hey, I'm over here, come over here, because people will go to jail.
Hello?
Mr. Sims?
Yes, ma'am.
Why did you tell Mr. Crawford that if anybody came up there that they would be going to jail?
Because a lot of your scenes, they can range from car accidents to burglary scenes, you name it. A lot of people will come up and they'll start to interfere. They'll start to create chaos, and that can lead to situations where people may go to jail.
So you weren't telling the truth when you said for simply coming up there, they would go to jail, right?
Section 4. No, it's just implying, like, hey, if they come up here, they're going to go to jail.
Yeah, I heard you.
Right.
So that wasn't true, right?
Section 4. Not necessarily. If somebody was to come up there and, break a law, they would be going to jail.
I'm being harassed by officers. They got me, harassed. For some reason, I don't know what's going on. I got driver license, insurance, everything.
Yeah, man.
Sir, I told me to search my car. What's going on? I don't understand.
What do you mean? I searched it. Yeah, you go ahead and search. That's what's going on right now.
I don't understand.
What do you not understand, sir?
Maybe he should have told him why he was searching the car. What was suspicious about him? Did he commit a crime? Was he suspected of committing a crime? This was, as Mr. Crawford said, pure harassment.
So when am I free to go?
Whenever, man.
Whenever?
Yeah. All right, put your money back.
Whatever.
Mr. Crawford never left, even though you told him he can leave whenever he wanted to, right? He never made any moves to leave, did he?
At this, no.
In fact, the first thing that occurred was you grabbed him, right?
Right.
You didn't tell him why, correct?
Correct.
And did you even know why?
Yes.
Why?
That Officer Surratt had either reasonable suspicion for detention, or probable cause for an arrest and or search.
Okay. Can you tell us why? Can you explain why you felt the need to threaten force when you were simply trying to detain Mr. Crawford to search him?
Absolutely. So, there's times in the street when dealing with resistant suspects, or even just suspects that appear to be compliant, and you can't see in this video, but he was tensing up his muscles.
Mm-hmm.
So I am telling them, hey, I'm communicating with them, hey, do not do that, or there's going to be consequences. And the reason why is the suspect can take off running, suspect can then start fighting, or just a number of things. So I was letting them know, hey, quit tensing up, I'm going to freaking drop you.
Right from the get-go, we can see that Kendrick's attorney, Amika Lewis, wasn't pulling any punches. Sims was about to be grilled so much more as this interview went on.
And it's you that's tasing him, right?
Yes.
Why are you tasing him?
Because due to his resistance, me grabbing him wasn't working. Me holding him down wasn't working. Nothing was working at this point. Now I have to worry about, he has one handcuff on, which can be used as a weapon.
Mm-hmm.
But at this point, I'm just trying to gain control of him.
But that was your choice, right? Not to put the handcuff on him, but actually to take his arm that you could have put the handcuff on and throw him to the ground, right?
Correct.
Don't tense up, dude. Oh. freaking drop you.
What I
You told him not to tense up, dude. I will freaking drop you. Correct?
Correct.
And so when you say don't tense up, I will freaking drop you, that indicates that he had not tensed up, right? That you were warning him not to. You didn't tell him stop tensing up. In other words, you said, okay. Did we just see your fist ball up and strike Mr. Crawford?
Yes.
And he's still begging you to please stop, correct?
Correct.
Says you're killing me, isn't he?
Yes.
He's not cursing at you.
No.
He's not being rude towards you.
He's being resistive. He is not putting his hands behind his back like we wanted from the start of this encounter. He's not complying. He's resisting. He's physically resisting.
Okay, that doesn't answer my question. I asked you, was he being rude to you?
Rude? No.
What did you see? What's going on? I don't have anything. What's going on?
I'm taking the bell.
This was nothing more than police brutality. The cops didn't announce they were going to handcuff him. They didn't declare why. They just threw him to the ground, and then Sims punched and tased him like some barbarians.
Give me your other arm. Put it behind your back. What's going on?
Okay. Do you still agree that it was on his chest?
It
Not his neck?
was definitely like upper close to his neck. It's really hard to tell on this video. But yes, I mean, it was right there under his chin.
I want to actually slow this down a little bit because I want you to tell me where your actual body is and as it relates to your legs. Your body's on top of Mr. Crawford's body and your legs wrapped around it. Isn't that true?
It appears, yeah, I have one leg wrapped around his waist.
Okay. And your arm is around his upper chest neck area, correct?
Correct.
And you're asking him at the same time to put his hands behind his back that you are on top of, correct?
At this point, I believe we're just trying to transition and put him on the ground.
Is holding Mr. Crawford from behind?
Yes.
And again, you're choking him, right?
At this point, I believe I'm just securing his head. I don't think at this point I'm actually choking him.
At any point were you choking him?
Not really intentionally. I was just kind of pulling up on him just to try to do something to gain control of Mr. Crawford.
Okay, and we see all this blood on his face, right? Bubbles of blood all over his forehead,
Okay.
correct?
Right.
Is that you saying you want to go night-night? You want to go night-night?
Yes.
Why are you saying that?
At this time, adrenaline was going. I'm hurt. I'm tired. In the fight, I was just telling Mr. Crawford, like, hey, like, stop your actions.
Apart from completely abusing the guy, this sick human decides to taunt the man. Can citizens trust cops after seeing something like this? Definitely not.
Put your hands behind your back.
Put your hands behind your back.
And again, you're asking him to put his hands behind his back while you're straddling his back and choking him around the neck. Isn't that true?
As far as choking, I wasn't trying to incapacitate him. I was like applying pressure, just pulling on something to make work. Yes, we wanted his hands at least close to behind his back at this point, so we can at least get him into somewhat control to handcuff him.
Hey, bro, stop. Man, you're fucked up enough. Wait. Alright, I got this arm. Get up. Cuff it close. There we go.
Is there a reason why you didn't watch the videos if they were made available to you, or your report before being subjected to this examination by me?
As I stated within the previous hour, no, there's not a reason.
The real reason he didn't watch the video is that this guy knew he messed up. No amount of footage review would have saved his face from all the horrible human rights violations he committed.
Can you see Mr. Crawford's face here?
Yes, ma'am.
You see all the blood over it?
Due to the lighting, not really. I do see something on his face. I do see swelling. I really can't see blood from this angle.
What about now?
Yes, ma'am. No, I can.
How would you describe what you see here in Mr. Crawford's face?
I see an individual with blood on his face.
Would you say a minimal amount of blood?
It's not the most I've ever seen, but it's not just a small cut.
But we can agree now that Mr. Crawford's, from what you see there, Mr. Crawford's injuries were not minor, correct?
Minor as in he's not incapacitated, he's not in a coma as far as major, but minor as in a couple scratches. No.
Would you consider fractured orbital sockets to be minor?
I wouldn't consider it to be minor or major. I mean, I'm not a doctor. It's really hard for me to go into detail about that.
So basically what you see of Mr. Crawford's face is kind of business as usual, huh?
No.
The attorney discussed these injuries because hero cop Sims here wrote Kendrick's injuries as minor in his report. He was so unfazed by the beating he gave the poor man.
Instead of putting unknown or I wasn't aware or things were moving fast or anything like that, you actually indicated the description here, correct?
So those were like some pre-filled tabs on the software on the report. To the best of my knowledge, there's like minor visible injury. There's life-threatening injury, such as someone's in the coma or such, and then there's death. So that's why I chose the minor visible injury. It does not give me that option. So unless things have changed since I've done the report.
All right, so the superficial wounds to the face, that was already automatically just a drop-down choice that you have. You couldn't fill that out yourself, right? Is it true that you stated that you don't feel that it's a punishment because you didn't want to be a law enforcement officer anymore anyway?
I've never stated that.
So your lawyer was being untruthful when he stated that to the media, correct?
I'm not sure my attorney even stated that. It's something we haven't discussed, and this is the first I've heard of it.
So you didn't see any article in that regard that said that you didn't feel it was a punishment and you were no longer... Well, let me just ask you, is it true? Do you feel that it wasn't a punishment?
The punishment was going through the investigation, the mental anguish, and everything led up to that, me having to change careers. All that itself was a punishment. The going through the court process, the indictment, that is punishment.
Changing careers and mental anguish was a punishment to this guy. What about the torture he inflicted on a defenseless civilian for no reason?
And at the end of the day, the person who you stopped, ultimately, Mr. Crawford, was not committing any crime.
Initially, at the stop, before the stop, no.
You're the criminal here, right? You were the one who were indicted. You were the one who was indicted, and there was probable cause to find that you, in fact, violated the law, correct?
Ma'am, I want to answer your questions.
My question's there. You can answer it.
No, I'm not a criminal.
So your indictment by a grand jury finding there was probable cause that you assaulted Mr. Crawford to the level of a felony, that meant nothing, right?
No, it meant a group of individuals found probable cause, and that indictment was later dismissed.
Well, it was dismissed because you entered into a plea deal and you gave up your law enforcement license that you worked very, very hard for. You had to give up your entire career for, correct?
Correct.
Ultimately, all the charges against Sims and the other officers were dismissed, but Crawford's attorney said they have a civil rights claim pending in federal court. However, she said they will be fighting a monster called qualified immunity. Apart from that, Timms is no more on the force as part of a plea deal. Everyone, including Kendrick's family, are waiting for justice. Let's see if our system gives it to them or not. And that's all for today. If you're a fan of similar crime content, consider subscribing. Thanks for watching. And if you liked this video, check out this next one right here.
You approached George Floyd on May 6th of 2019, is that right?
That's correct, yes.
And you had your gun drawn when you approached Mr. Floyd.